I stood there in the dimly lit basement, the wrench in my hand feeling heavier than it should, as the flickering fluorescent light cast long shadows on the concrete floor. The water heater hummed faintly, but it wasn't the machine that had my heart pounding, it was her voice, soft and trembling, echoing from the stairs above. "Don't let me stay up alone tonight," she whispered, her eyes wide with a fear I hadn't expected. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't just about fixing a leak. It was about mending something far more broken. But as I turned to respond, a sudden crash from upstairs shattered the silence, and I froze. What was happening up there? "My name is Alex, and I've always been the guy who fixes things. Leaky faucets, busted pipes, you name it. It's how I met my best friend, Mike, back in high school when I helped him unclog his family's ancient sink. We've been inseparable since. Through college parties, bad breakups, and even that road trip where our car broke down in the middle of nowhere. Mike's the outgoing one, the life of the party, while I'm the quiet fixer in the background. So when he called me that rainy afternoon, his voice laced with worry, I didn't hesitate. "Alex, man, you gotta help me out. My sister's water heater crapped out, and she's freaking out. Can you swing by her place? She's alone tonight, and I hate leaving her like that." His sister, Emily. I'd seen her around growing up, but we were never close. She was always the smart one, the artist with her head in the clouds, while I was elbow-deep in grease. Little did I know, that simple favor would unravel secrets I'd never seen coming. I pulled up to her modest two-story house on the edge of town just as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The rain had stopped, but the air was thick with that post-storm humidity. Emily opened the door before I could knock, her hair tied back in a messy ponytail, wearing an oversized sweater that swallowed her frame. She looked smaller than I remembered, her eyes rimmed with exhaustion. "Alex? Thank God you're here. Mike said you'd come." Her voice was steady, but there was an undercurrent of something else, relief mixed with vulnerability. I nodded, toolbox in hand, and followed her inside. The house smelled like fresh coffee and old books, a cozy contrast to the chill outside. She led me to the basement, flipping on the light as we descended the creaky stairs. "It's been acting up for weeks," she explained. "Hot water 1 minute, ice cold the next. I tried YouTube tutorials, but I'm hopeless with this stuff." As I knelt by the water heater, inspecting the valves and connections, Emily hovered nearby, her arms crossed like she was holding herself together. We made small talk at first, how Mike was doing at his new job, the latest family gossip. But then she sighed, leaning against the wall. "You know, it's not just the heater. Everything feels off lately." I glanced up, wiping sweat from my brow. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, biting her lip. "It's been a rough year. Lost my job, then Mom got sick, and now this house feels too big, too empty." Her words hung in the air, and I felt a pang of empathy. I'd lost my dad a few years back to cancer, the emptiness never really goes away. But before I could share that, she straightened up. "Anyway, ignore me. Just fix the thing so I can take a hot shower." It didn't take long to diagnose the issue, a faulty thermostat and some corrosion on the pipes. I got to work, the rhythmic clank of tools filling the silence. Emily disappeared upstairs for a bit, returning with 2 mugs of coffee. "Black, right? Mike mentioned you hate cream." I smiled, taking the mug. "Yeah, thanks." We sat on the basement steps, sipping in companionable quiet. That's when she opened up more. "You probably think I'm overreacting to a water heater," she said with a weak laugh. "But it's like, one more thing breaking reminds me how fragile everything is." I nodded, setting down my tools. "I get it. After my dad passed, I threw myself into work. Fixing stuff was the only thing that made sense." Her eyes met mine, softening. "I'm sorry, Alex. I didn't know. For the first time, we really talked, about loss, about the weight of carrying on alone. She shared how her mom's illness had forced her to move back home, putting her dreams of art school on hold. I told her about the nights I'd stare at the ceiling, wondering if I'd ever feel whole again. As the evening wore on, I finished the repairs, testing the water flow until steam rose reassuringly. All set, I announced, packing up. But Emily didn't move from the stairs. Her face had paled, and she glanced toward the window where night had fully fallen. "Alex, don't let me stay up alone tonight." The words tumbled out, vulnerable and raw. I paused, toolbox halfway zipped. "What do you mean?" She took a deep breath. "There's something I haven't told anyone. Not even Mike." My pulse quickened. What could it be? But just then, a loud thud echoed from the living room above, like something heavy falling. Emily's eyes widened in terror. "Oh God, it's happening again." We rushed upstairs, my heart racing as I followed her into the dimly lit living room. The sound had come from near the fireplace, where a framed photo lay shattered on the floor. Emily knelt, picking up the pieces with trembling hands. It was a picture of her and her mom, smiling on a beach vacation. "This keeps happening," she whispered. "Things moving on their own." At first, I thought it was the wind, or me being clumsy. But tonight, I can't shake the feeling I'm not alone. I scanned the room, the hairs on my neck standing up. Was it a prank? A faulty foundation? Or something more sinister? I placed a hand on her shoulder. "Hey, it's okay. We'll figure this out." But as we stood there, another creak came from the hallway, like footsteps approaching, and that's when I saw a shadow flicker across the wall. Emily clutched my arm, her breath shallow. "It started after Mom died," she confessed in a rush. "Little things. Doors slamming, whispers in the night. I thought I was losing my mind, grief playing tricks. But last week, I saw her. Mom, standing at the foot of my bed. My mind reeled. Ghosts? I wasn't a believer, but the fear in her eyes was real. Have you told Mike?" She shook her head. "He'd think I'm crazy. That's why I asked you to stay. Please, Alex. Just for tonight." I hesitated, but the vulnerability in her plea won out. "Okay. I'll stay." We settled on the couch, the house creaking around us like an old ship at sea. As the clock ticked past midnight, Emily shared more about her mom, the woman who'd raised her and Mike single-handedly after their dad left. "She was my rock," Emily said, tears welling. "But toward the end, with the cancer, she changed. Angry, confused. I think she's still here, unfinished business or something." I listened, sharing my own stories of loss. How I'd found solace in helping others, fixing what I could in a world that felt unfixable. Emily leaned her head on my shoulder, the tension easing slightly. "You're good at this, you know. Not just pipes, people." A warmth spread through me, unexpected but welcome. We'd known each other peripherally for years, but in this moment, it felt like we'd been waiting to connect. As the night deepened, the strange occurrences paused, and we talked about dreams deferred. Her art, my secret desire to start a community workshop for kids dealing with loss. But just as sleep began to tug at us, a chilling whisper echoed from the kitchen, "Emily." We both froze, her hand gripping mine tightly. Was it her mom? Or something else entirely? Bolting upright, we crept toward the kitchen, the floorboards groaning under our feet. The whisper came again, faint but unmistakable. "Stay." Emily's face drained of color. "That's her voice." My rational mind screamed for explanations, maybe a neighbor's TV, or wind through vents. But deep down, doubt crept in. We flipped on the light, revealing an empty room. On the counter, though, was Emily's mom's old recipe book, open to a page it hadn't been before, her famous apple pie, the one Emily had mentioned earlier as a childhood comfort. "She used to make this when I was scared," Emily murmured, tracing the words. Tears streamed down her face. Maybe she's not angry. Maybe she's trying to say goodbye. I pulled her into a hug, feeling her sobs against my chest. In that embrace, something shifted, not just for her, but for me. The fixer who thought he could only mend machines was learning to heal hearts. We spent the rest of the night piecing together the puzzle. Emily recalled arguments with her mom in those final months, unresolved regrets over not pursuing her art, words left unsaid. "I told her I'd be fine," she said. "But I wasn't. I gave up everything." I encouraged her to talk it out, addressing the empty air. "Mom, if you're here. Emily's strong. She's going to chase her dreams. You can rest now." Silence followed, heavy but peaceful. No more whispers, no shadows. As dawn broke, filtering golden light through the windows, Emily looked at me with renewed hope. "Thank you, Alex. For believing me. For staying." I smiled, feeling a spark I'd long ignored. "Anytime. And hey, maybe this is the start of something new, for both of us." In the days that followed, the house quieted. No more disturbances. Emily started painting again, her canvases bursting with color and emotion, channeling her grief into beauty. I visited often, not as a fixer, but as a friend, then more. Mike was thrilled when we told him, joking about how his water heater ploy worked better than expected. But the real change was inside us. We faced our challenges head-on. Emily confronted her fears by enrolling in art classes, resolving to honor her mom's memory through creation rather than sacrifice. I opened that workshop, helping kids like I wished someone had helped me. Together, we built a life from the broken pieces, proving that sometimes, the things that scare us most lead to the healing we need. Life throws curveballs, loss, fear, the unknown. But in facing them with someone who understands, we find strength we didn't know we had. Emily and I learned that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's the bridge to connection. So if this story touched you, remember, you're not alone in your struggles. Reach out, fix what you can, and let others help with the rest. And if you enjoyed this tale of unexpected bonds and second chances, hit that like button and subscribe for more inspiring stories that remind us of the power of human connection. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.